torches, you don't throw it out.
Solid. Oh my, what a...
Call me a giant or call me a 49er. Call me a warrior, cause I follow a code of honor.
Round number 1 is now underway. All the talk is done. It is simply time to fight.
What is up, guys? It's your boy FightNightsFinest, the Sophie commentator, back with another Fight Night Champion online ranked match. In this head-to-head matchup, we got Hatton going up against Julio Cesar Chavez at 140 pounds. And this is a nice welterweight matchup and a nice little Mexico versus British fight. Where, you know, British fighters, I'm not classifying all of them as this, but, you know, they like to talk smack, they like to brawl, and they like to fight. Same thing with Mexico fighters, except I think they're a bit more technical than some British fighters. But this is actually a role reversal here. You're going to see I'm the guy with less technique, and he's going to be the guy being a little bit more technical on the outside, considering the fact I have a 90 overall to his 85 overall, which gives me the advantage, and I also do have the power advantage and the better chin. So he picked his fighter being at a disadvantage, but hey, it is what it is. You fight with who you want to, and you work well to see maybe if you can outdo a bigger opponent with a lesser fighter. Makes for a fun and interesting matchup, and sometimes it also can be very frustrating. As you guys see, I fight with some people who aren't exactly known as the best fighters in the game, but you know, it's nice to have the advantage every once in a while, especially in a matchup with a guy who's going to be using the outside. The main reason I think he was using the outside, well, it's because I had the power advantage and all of the disadvantages that Hatton does have. But these guys do have the same build, and they are designed in the same way to go forward, throw combinations, and work the body. And with both fighters here, you're going to see us taking turns in that. And the most important thing is he goes from outside and to inside fighter. And that's a nice little quality to have, where you could step onto the outside, and then you can also come back onto the inside and throw combinations. And that brings an end to this first round. So we're feeling pretty confident, we're feeling good, knowing that we have a 10-8 round in our bank, and knowing that we can recover from stamina or any damage that we may incur for maybe a round or two later on in the fight, if it carries on that long. So we enter round 2 with the game plan that we usually execute. Under round 1, you know what we like to do. We like to bring pressure, come forward, and see how it is that he handles it. You know, will he crumble under pressure later on? Is there adjustments that we need to see? And by being so aggressive, we also get to see the arsenal of our opponent and see what it is that he likes to throw, or the combinations that he has loaded up, if he isn't a smart fighter and he gives away his entire arsenal in the first round. And when you bring that kind of pressure, it does kind of make people want to fold under the pressure and just try to get rid of you or keep him away from you with tons of combinations. And it's also really good for attacking somebody's stamina, plus mixing in some body work, and you got a recipe for success. So in the second round here, we're backing him down, and we're actually feeling pretty good, knowing that we can bring this pressure and that he's actually doing pretty good defensively. So I know I'm going to be in for a long fight. So the main thing here is to try to either get rid of him early, or, you know, stay on the outside and conserve our stamina and pick our shots better. And he ends up actually backing us down here, and he's doing a wonderful job of backing us down. You saw how he took us from all the way on the right side of the ring back onto the left side of the ring. But we're comfortable fighting on the ropes, and we adjust here. We get a beautiful counter left hook up top, and look at this counter. Get cold clocked by the left hook as we put him onto the canvas for the second time. Now, we're going to skip over into the third round here, because it was just a quick round. Nothing really happened at the end of that. So we move on into the third round, and we want to continue doing what it is that we wanted to do when we initially came into the fight, which is score knockdowns and see if we can't get him to either rage quit or, you know, actually get a KO finish here. So in the third round, we're bringing the pressure, and we're doing exactly what we did in round 1. But I still had that, you know, I still had that thought in my mind about how good his outside fighting was when he was using his jab earlier. And we saw how well he was actually able to keep me out and then bring me all the way back over to the other side of the ring. So that's the one thing that's going in the back of my mind. So you see a change in style here. I'm still aggressive, but I'm picking my shots a little more, and I'm not throwing as many combinations as I was in round 1 and round 2, because I'm worried about my stamina. I'm thinking this guy is going to be around for a few rounds. So we go back downstairs to the body with a beautiful left hook, right hook combination. And now you're seeing the jab being used by both fighters. And you see him working actually pretty well on the outside and blocking a lot of the punches that I'm throwing. You see him try to throw some power shots there, but he ends up missing because we hit him downstairs in the body. And when you hit certain fighters in the body, their punches just seem to go AWOL. Like they go all over the place and in any direction. And some fighters just can't trade. Initially when I came in this fight and I saw him pick Ricky Hatton, I wanted to use Kendall Holt, but he's just one of those guys when you throw downstairs to the body and you try to punch back, it just goes all over the place and leaves you open for a really damaging power shots, or any punch at all can really do major damage and you won't be able to put your block up back in time. So here we drop our hands and we start to move on the outside a little bit since he starts to come back with the pressure game that he used on us in the second round to bring us all the way back onto the other side of the ropes. And you know, he destroyed us in this round. He made a nice adjustment of using the outside and doing what he did well in round 2 without but just being a little bit more careful. And I believe he did end up taking that 3rd round. And we fast forward into the 5th round here. And just to keep the video a bit shorter, so we come back onto the inside, you know, thinking, you see where our stamina is. We gotta pressure this guy so he doesn't pressure us back, and that's exactly what we end up doing here. We end up bringing the pressure in the 5th round that we had in the 1st and the 2nd round, but we're still being a bit more cautious, and we're just trying to box at this point and pick our shots really selectively. And with guys like this who can fight on the outside, on the inside, it shows a great ability to adapt and to adjust. I believe this guy is Way Ready Rob that I had on my other account, and he's on my friends list there, and he's actually a pretty good fighter. And I really did like the way that he used the jab in this matchup, where he was able to keep me out, score points on the outside, and just kind of screw up the pressure that I like to bring. You see how he slowed me down from where I was in the 1st to the 2nd round, and even in the 3rd round, that's where you really see the changes started to take place, where he was able to keep me out of being that aggressive tank that I like to be, of just taking shots and dishing them back out, but you know, still trying to be defensive, minded as possible. So we see here, coming out a minute into the round, he's performing a lot better than he did in other rounds, but even though he's scoring quite nicely with those jabs, you see he's not throwing really too many power shots, so the hooks and uppercuts that I'm landing is actually scoring me more points than he is able to score, because he isn't landing too many big shots. I'm surprised he didn't catch me with that overhand right there, but it doesn't change anything. I feel like I'm really in control of this round, and I'm hiding really well behind my defense, and then that nice textbook block guard, and you know, keeping our hands up high, we're able to get rid of quite a few headshots. He gets a nice double jab to the body there, and that should conclude the end of this round as we move on into round number 6. The pressure that we bring is completely gone, in my opinion. I don't know how this guy was able to neutralize, and some people might say he broke the code. He stopped you from coming forward, but yeah, sometimes you just gotta adjust and you gotta adapt to what it is that your opponent did. If I kept throwing the amount of combinations and punches that I was throwing in that 1st and 2nd round, would the fight have been over? Yeah, it probably would have. He probably would have countered me, continued to work me, and I would be in no position to fight back at this point. But I feel I'm in a pretty good position. I feel his stamina is lower than mine as we get a nice counter uppercut to the body because of the amount of body work that we was doing and how well we're hardening behind our defense. We're fighting at a high risk, high reward kind of strategy, where you fight at a high pace in the first few rounds, and then you kind of slow down, pick your shots well, and hide behind your defense. You might have seen this strategy used quite a few times throughout my videos. I know in my matchup against Killer Gorilla, that was one strategy that you see work to perfection, where we fought really at a really high pace in round 1, 2, 3. I think like the first half of the fight we fought at a high pace, and then you see it kind of slow down and we just pick our shots, and we actually end up winning that match. So I'm expecting the same kind of outcome here, where I could just pick the shots, score well, and taking the fight. Coming down to a minute in the 6th round, you see we got him back up against the ropes, and then we decided to turn up the pressure and start throwing a little 1-2 punches, and then taking breaks in between putting our hands back up and just trying to stay steady. But you see here, he's just mainly throwing the jab, and some of them are landed, some of them are not. But you can't score with so many points there, and I do get a bit frustrated. You saw the power shot start coming out because I was unable to get onto the inside with the pressure that he was bringing with that jab. And that's the great thing about being able to adapt. You see how well the jab is working, how much he's landing it, and I still think I'm taking the rounds because he's not landing any effective shots like hooks, uppercuts, straights. Those aren't the punches that he's landing. He's just landing, he's just landing like hooks and he's just landing jabs instead of hooks and uppercuts. And you can only score for so many points when a guy's up there using hooks and uppercuts. And I feel that's putting us in great shape in order to carry on to this fight. So I feel he's just stalling the inevitable at this point because I know my stamina is higher than his. For a guy who's just jabbing so much, and you see how he buckles over with almost every shot that he takes. The power that Julio Cesar Chavez has is devastating, and you can only take for so many shots without going down. And the pressure that we're bringing with hooks and uppercuts are doing damage. They want to do like significant damage that power shots with the power modifier button will do, but they will do well for you. So we back him back down against the ropes again, coming to the halfway mark of round 7. And once again, he gets back on the outside, scores his points with the jab, dips in and out. And, you know, we land our shots with the hooks, uppercuts, and straights in order to gain more points. So at this point, it's just, what is he going to do and what else can he do? I feel like I said, his stamina is lower, and you can only inflict for so much damage onto your opponents with low stamina. As he gets a beautiful counter left hook there to the body. I must say that is one way to try to tap your opponent down or make him tap out, is by going to the body, taking away their stamina, and try to deplete the stamina advantage that he has here. So he decides to come back forward and start brawling with us now. Gets that counter jab to the body, and that forces us to step back because counter shots deplete your stamina whenever they're thrown to the body, especially if you're in the middle of a combination, regardless of the punch that you're throwing. But we end up hitting the signature right uppercut there, and now we try to bring the pressure back on him, but we just can't get close to him. We was just, our whole rhythm of the inside was thrown off, but we do end up getting the chin check with the right uppercut here and putting him down onto the canvas for the 3rd time. And that's just about that's about all she wrote for this guy. Fought up a really violent fight with a nice strategy, but there's only but so much you can take from that kind of pressure. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is your boy FightNightsFinest, the Sofa Commentator, and I'm off this. Peace.